It is 11 a.m. in Lockerbie, Scotland. It's 7 p.m. in Tokyo. I'm Monita Rajpal. This is World One, live from London. Families of the victims of the Lockerbie bombing are calling for a fresh inquiry into the conviction of Abdul Basit al-Megrahi, who died of cancer on Sunday. Al-Megrahi is the only man to have been convicted for the terrorist attack, which killed 270 people when a Pan Am airliner was brought down over Scotland in 1988. Well, Nick joins us now live for us from New York. And Nick, talk to us a little bit. There's a sense that people, even though with his death, there's still so many unanswered questions surrounding him and the case. Why do you think there's still a need for an inquiry?
Well, he said that he would prove his innocence before he died. He didn't do that.
Nick, thank you for that. Nick Robertson there for us in New York. Now, according to a number of reports, al-Megrahi will be buried in Tripoli today, and we want to take you now to the Scottish town of Lockerbie, and that's where 270 people died when the U.S.-bound airliner blew up. 11 of the victims were local people killed on the ground. CNN's Matthew Chance joins us now live. And Matthew, what's the feeling where you are?
I think, Monita, a sense that, you know, a chapter of this ongoing saga in Lockerbie, this disastrous episode.
A few hours from now, members of NATO look set to formally adopt a U.S. timetable for ending the war in Afghanistan. Leaders of NATO countries began their summit in Chicago on Sunday. Top officials say they are committed to Afghanistan and will not abandon the country. All right, Elise, thank you for that. Elise Labott there in Chicago. Well, let's take you now to Kabul and CNN's Nick Payton-Walsh there for more reaction on this NATO withdrawal timetable, the scheduled timetable by 2014, and what impact that will have for things on the ground there, Nick.
Monita?
Yeah, the word that President Obama has been using is that they won't abandon Afghans, but a lot have been talking about what about the rebuilding efforts in Afghanistan. A lot of money had been pledged at the start of the war back in 2001. Some $40 billion had been pledged by countries around the world. What happens to rebuilding efforts? I mean, where is the country now from where it was back then?
It's changed in many ways.
Thank you. Nick Payton-Walsh there in Kabul. We want to see what newspapers around the world are saying about this. Let's begin with the headline in the International Herald Tribune. For Obama, reality burst, Afghan dream. The article goes on to say Mr. Obama concluded in his first year that the Bush-era dream of remaking Afghanistan was a fantasy. So he narrowed the goals in Afghanistan and narrowed them again until he could make the case that the United States had achieved limited objectives in a war that was, in any traditional sense, unwinnable. In Turkey, there's this headline in today's Zaman, Remember Afghanistan's Women. It's a guest editorial written by former U.S. First Lady Laura Bush, and it says NATO officials have an opportunity to communicate that aid, investment, and alliances are not guaranteed if women are simply to be treated as a bargaining chip. Having already seen the terrible cost of denying the most basic of human freedoms, do we dare risk the consequences now of abandoning the women of Afghanistan? And finally, here in Britain, the Independent headline is time for NATO to fill in the blanks on Afghanistan. It's a comment piece that goes on to say, amid all the uncertainties, one thing is clear. Even when the war is officially over, our involvement will not be. Live from London, I'm Monita Rajpal. A suicide attack in the Yemeni capital Sana'a has left dozens of people dead. Security officials tell CNN at least 47 soldiers were killed. More than 30 others were reportedly wounded. We want to cross straight to CNN's Mohammed Jamjoon. He joins us now live from the Lebanese capital, Beirut. And Mohammed, you've been there before. You've been to Sana'a. Talk to us a little bit about what you know about what happened today. Mohammed, thank you for that. Mohammed Jamjoon there in Beirut. French authorities have widened their investigation into Dominique Strauss-Kahn. They suspect the former IMF chief was involved in a prostitution ring, and prosecutors are now looking into allegations they believe may point to a gang rape carried out in Washington. Richard Greene joins us now with details on that. Richard.
Yes, indeed. Monita, what's happened is there are two different investigations going on around Dominique Strauss-Kahn.
Northeastern Italy is dealing with the damage caused by a strong, deadly earthquake and its aftershocks. 7 people were killed and dozens injured as several communities were shaken over the weekend. Various structures, including historic buildings, were reduced to rubble. Very difficult situation indeed. All right, Barbie, thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. And we'll be right back here on World One. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, football history was made in France on Sunday. Pedro Pinto joins us now with details on what was a dramatic final day in Ligue 1.
Good pronunciation.
Merci.
It was indeed. Montpellier won the French league title for the first time ever, finishing the season just 3 points ahead of in the NBA playoffs. But it was a huge weekend in football here in Europe.
You were very busy indeed. I want to talk a little bit about that photograph, if we can bring that up again, of with David Cameron and Angela Merkel and President Obama watching the game, this anxious look on his face. But what I want to talk about is that guy there. You see them on the left?
Yes, with his head in his hands?
Yeah. Also, there's another one. There's another photograph when they were hugging it out. I think it's the next one. There's this interesting photograph. It's coming up. You'll see. You'll understand. Where is it? There it is. The guy on the table sitting there on the left. What's he thinking right now?
He's thinking my team just lost.
No, or is he thinking the soccer? What's that about?
Or why haven't they brought me my coffee? Yeah. Maybe he's thinking that. Yeah, look, this is a match followed all around the world, an estimated TV global audience of 300 million people, Champions League final, the top club football match to be played.
Was I the only one in the world who probably didn't watch it?
Probably. No, the population of the world's a bit larger than 300 million, so I think there were a few that didn't follow it.
It's true.
I'm disappointed you didn't, though, Monita.
Well, was it your team?
Huh?
Is it your team?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just disappointed you didn't show the passion. That's all.
Yes, well, there are other things than football.
Are there? Wow.
So thank you. Thank
Wasting
you
your time.
No,
go
it's
ahead.
Okay, it's all good. You're
show
watching
must go
World One live from London. Hey, this is something that I could have been watching, but I didn't see it, obviously, because I live here. The shadow of the moon. This was all that was left of the sun for a few minutes. Able to see the eclipse. It was a matter of getting lucky with the weather. Our meteorologist Mari Ramos is at the World Weather Center with more on that. Hello, Mari.
Yeah, you know, Tokyo was supposed to be a prime viewing spot, as was Hong Kong. But of course, this time of year, it can get very tricky to get to.
Mari, thank you very much. From ethically sourced fabric to recycling, businesses and consumers are coming up with ever more innovative ways of going green. And that was the subject of a summit held in Copenhagen earlier this month on sustainable fashion. Details about sustainable fashion, you can always go to CNN.com and you can find out more about the Danish. You're watching World One live from London. We'll bring you an update of the news headlines at the top of the hour. I'm Monita Rajpal.